forward to this. Welcome to the Heartline Energy Celebration. The mission is to come together in faith. I want to begin with the mission of the Heartline Energy Celebration. We come together in faith. When I say faith, that means the ability to stay calm and centered in right action during undesirable circumstances. We believe that each of us has an internal compass with our heart, a place inside of us that helps us know what is right and true for ourselves. That is why we come together, to share our truth, not to impose it on anyone else. If something someone shares resonates as true with you, we ask that you live it and not preach it. No one likes being told what to do, what to believe, or how to think. Instead, we come together to listen, to share, and to honor one another's journey. Our mission is to restore the health of this generation. And we begin by giving thanks in advance for the miracle. We come together to feel it, speak it, live it. We give thanks in advance for the healing and the transformation that we want to see as though the miracle is already unfolded. And then we live in alignment with it. That is the energy we are creating together at the Heartline Energy Celebration. Let's just take a moment for a moment of silence. And in this moment, ask yourself, who am I? What do I want? And why am I here?
Had such expectations, we would soon be giving birth to the next Chopin, the next Einstein, the greatest child on earth. And we'd be the perfect family, soon we'd have the perfect kid. We'd never have a challenge or a problem, God forbid. Oh, but life had different plans. So I need for you to understand. Don't desert me. Don't ignore. I need friends now more than I ever did before. Show compassion, but please don't pity me. I'm a parent just like you, it's true, but I have special needs. I need you to notice that my life's different from yours. I need you not to judge me. Don't compare and don't keep score. I love an extra pair of hands or just a hug or two. I need you to acknowledge that I carry more than you. Got the world here on my back. So I just thought I would ask. Don't desert me. Don't ignore. I than I ever did before. It's not the life that I have chosen, but it's the life that's chosen me. I'm a parent just like you, it's true, but I have special needs. Oh, yeah, I have special needs. Yeah, I need someone to listen. I need you to care. I need your understanding. Oh, I need you just to be there. Yeah, I need your friendship. Maybe a hug or two. Oh God, I need a miracle.
I love her music. And the Heartline Energy Celebration Declaration. Oop, let me stop the music. Okay. And together. I remember that life is energy and motion. I choose to breathe the energy of gratitude from my heart into every cell of my body. I recognize my innate power from within to choose love over fear. Today, I choose to circulate love rather than fear, compassion rather than judgment, gratitude rather than scarcity, and peace rather than struggle. As I change the energy within myself, I change the energy I contribute to my family, my community, and my world. I recognize that every thought, every feeling, every intention, and every action sends a ripple through the field of life. Therefore, I continuously choose thoughts that uplift, words that heal, and actions that serve the highest good. May the energy I create today serve my highest good and the highest good of all. I choose love. I give thanks for miracles in advance. Together, we feel the miracle as though it has already happened. And so it is. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Spark Nicole. Nicole wears many hats. She's a homeschool mom, teacher, vice president of Heartline Foundation, creator of Opus Oculus, and an amazing friend. Personally, I think Nicole is a psychological intuitive. She has this incredible ability to look beneath the surface, to listen, observe, and recognize things that may not always, that we may not always recognize within ourselves. One of the things I value most about Nicole is the past life perspectives that she brings. She also offers a different way of looking at something, and it gives you the space to listen to your own heart and decide what resonates with you. And that's exactly the spirit that Heartline Energy Celebration is made of. Nicole, I'm so grateful for everything you bring to Heartline, and even more grateful to call you my friend. I can't wait to hear your spark that you have for us today. Everyone, pleased to welcome our speaker spark, Nicole.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Janelle. That was a really awesome, um, awesome way to describe me. I'm deeply touched, actually. So I'm going to try not to weep. I am speaking today from home, so my daughter and my cats might pop through at any given time, as just happened. I'm going to talk a little bit about my own start to life to begin, and how I got here, how I ended up meeting Janelle, and where I am today. I grew up all over the place. Both of my parents were profoundly mentally ill. So I moved around quite a bit between relatives and went through a lot of scarcity and a lot of insecurity in my life, until about the age of around 19 when I moved out on my own. I went to university in Washington, D.C., came back to take care of my grandmother to North Carolina, which is the place that I had lived before. I also lived in California, Florida, and in Denmark. Once I got to college, the taste of freedom was pretty intoxicating, metaphorically and literally. That's probably around the time that I started drinking heavily and partying like it was my vocation. And I got into bartending later. I transferred schools to Washington, D.C. And once I started bartending, that lifestyle was fixed of the heavy drinking, nightlife exposure, and tumultuous relationships with men. So that went on for about 12 years. And then I had a crisis of losing my job, losing my apartment, losing my boyfriend. And I was like, what now? So I, just left everything, went back to North Carolina, stayed with friends, and I was in a funk. And during that time, an old acquaintance reached out to me and asked me if I was interested in traveling to Nicaragua. So I said, hell yeah, I'd love that. I have nothing going on. I'm in. So I proceeded to sell the few possessions that I had. I put together about $3,000. I bought a one-way ticket to Nicaragua. And when I got there, I ended up staying at this place called Biosfera, which is an eco lodge run by a woman named Suzanne, who's like nobody I've ever met, except I've met really cool people like Janelle. But she's on that level, very, very unique individual, full of fire. And, staying with her and experiencing this total paradigm shift just awakens a lot of possibility in my heart. So I kept going. I took a bus to Panama, stayed there for a little, and then I flew to Colombia with the goal of making all the way down to Argentina and then Uruguay to visit a friend there. All this with almost no money. And then once I got to Colombia, I fell in love with the place. I made friends very easily there. I was still partying and having a great time, but I had, I guess because I was in a new place where I didn't have my usual kind of reference points, I just was able to explore a different side of myself. So I got into teaching photography there to kids who are impoverished up in the comunas. I learned a lot about the difficulties of living in Medellin, was the city I was in, for people there, a lot of violence and poverty. and I was mostly working with kids who were teenagers. So I ended up, my visa ran out. I was there for 6 months, and they actually gave me a month extension, which is pretty unheard of, but I guess it was meant to be. I stayed for another month. And then after that, I had no money, nothing. Like I had like $50. And so I had to get back to the US with the intention of staying for another 6 months to a year and then applying for an extended visa to go back to Colombia because I thought I was going to live there. So I ended up, uh, some friends in the US got me a ticket to fly to Miami. I got there by the skin of my teeth. I mean, I barely even got out of the Columbia airport because my luggage was too heavy, so I kept having to remove things and give them to people. And then it was just crazy. So I get to Miami, and I had friends there, so I stayed with them, and I found a little bar gig, and I rode a scooter around town, and did my thing for about 3 weeks, and I was like, I got to keep going. And all the while I was shooting, I was doing a lot of street photography. So my idea was that I would put together a show in Washington once I made it back there. But again, I was running on fumes. And thanks to the generosity and love that I had in my life at the time, I was able to work, trade, barter, and also sell images. And friends extended their homes, and I made it back all the way to DC, put my show together, got gigs here and there, and then met my husband working in a bar on on the weekends that I had taken as a guest opportunity because I wasn't trying to put down roots in DC again. So I met my husband there, and we ended up getting pregnant 4 months later, and just have been together since. And once I got pregnant, it catalyzed something in me where I decided I'm not drinking anymore like that, and I'm not living that lifestyle. It just stopped. And I started to experience a lot of inward crises, memories that were strange. They were more feeling rooted than pictures. And I was really scared because I didn't want my daughter to come into the world with all these neuroses, all of these fears, and go through the same patterns that I had experienced, and all the insecurity with my own parents. My mother is schizophrenic with bipolar disorder, and she still is right now. Currently, I'm still dealing with her situation. And so there was a lot of really deep fear that my daughter would inherit that, mental illness. And so I just decided that I was going to reach out to Jungian analysts and see, even though I didn't have any money, see if somebody would see me. And they just said, hey, no, we're not going to do that because you can't pay. But, what they suggested was that I just dig in to the reading. And I did. I did that. And I started journaling heavily. All of this while I was pregnant, recording my dreams. I started making art really seriously for the first time. I cut off all negativity in my environment, family, all that stuff, and just focused on my pregnancy, focused on my diet. I ate really, really well. I did the Weston Price protocol while I was pregnant because I was in my 30s. So I really wanted my daughter to have the best possibility of coming into the world healthy. And during that time, it was probably the best time of my life in many ways because I loved being pregnant with my daughter. I loved talking to her and just dreaming about all the possibilities, much like the song lyrics that Janelle played at the beginning. And she came out great. She's still great. But once she was born, that was a whole nother ball of yarn. More neuroses, more just all kinds of stuff coming to the surface. It was a very organic. It just happened. And I started to discover more things about myself and motherhood, deeper layers of my being. I started to look at my daughter and see pain from my own past. And I don't think I necessarily understood it that way at the time, but there was more memories coming up through her. And I just dedicated all of myself to her. And maybe it was too much in retrospect, because by the time we moved from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia, where my husband got a job with the fire department as a medic, I was really, really going through a lot of darkness in my psyche and projecting it onto my daughter, thinking that she wasn't well physically. And it was this chiropractor named Larry Moses that I made contact with and started to see, who told me, listen, maybe you need to just focus on yourself, and get to the bottom of what's going on with you. Put whatever issues you're perceiving with your daughter on the shelf and dig in. And he told me, he said, you're very gifted and you're very powerful, and you have a ton of potential. So, you can do it. And I took that advice. And I started to really practice more self-reflection in a way that was kind of objectifying metaphors, taking what was going on with me and saying, what is this actually about? Right? Rather than identifying with it exclusively. And this is a very sticky process. So once around 2017, 2018, I started to get a lot of dark premonitions about the world, what we call the matrix, what most people call the matrix now, the simulation of this world. And it was really getting me down. Like I was in a very, very dark place studying eschatology. I was really into studying spiritual warfare even before that. But the fear of looming crises was so profound. And in that time, I started to see things on the other side that were demons. I saw demons physically. And it just, the fear that I felt was so profound and really, really, I can't even describe how afraid I was. Um, it was like my life force had completely been taken out of me when I would see these things. And I prayed through it. I prayed a lot. I wrote a lot. I was writing so prolifically at that time. And by the way, none of this is really in order. It just kind of fits together. But once 2020 happened, right away during the COVID debacle, I was acutely aware of it being an op, because before that, I had gone through all these things that were personal, but also been able to perceive kind of a trajectory on the other side psychically. So I ended up getting offline and going on to somehow this Telegram group, and I got involved with an Agora and went to the first meeting and said, "Hey, I'm homeschooling. I don't have any friends here. I don't have any community for my daughter, and it's isolating. And I want to do something. I want to build community. I want to seed something." Um, and this woman said, "Oh, you've got to join this homeschool group. They have, there's a website online." And so I went online, and the first post I saw was that there was an art workshop at Janelle's place. And I went the next day. Like, it manifested so quickly. And when I got there, there was Janelle, there was Pat, who would end up becoming one of my mentors and very closest friends. And we just bonded and connected and started to build our own kind of, safe space for each other in this like really crazy vacuum around us, soul sucking, fear inducing hellhole. And we also had a little fun, and our kids had great time, and it was awesome. So in that time, growing closer to Pat, I learned about muscle testing. She would muscle test me, and when she started muscle testing me, the first thing that emerged was something. My father had died, by the way, in this time period, and I went through a lot of physical pain that Janelle witnessed, and a lot of crazy stuff up here. And Pat was able to help me pull up a trauma that was hidden in my body, that deeply hidden around some profound sexual abuse in my childhood. And it started to piece together some of my behaviors, some of my fears, and I just confronted it, and it was painful. There was a lot of rage, a lot of impotence, psychoses, just really hellish tapestry of emotions. And I talked to Anna Kalukas in that time, and she gave me some guidance, but ultimately told me that I was a little too advanced in my practice for her type of work to be of long-term use in my healing. So by hook and crook, I just started lifting all the layers and going through all of the pain that would come up. And it was incremental, it was grueling, it was long, and I thought it was never going to end. It did. And through that process, I figured out that some of my own gifts. I learned that I'm an exorcist and I am a full-time exorcist. I exorcise individuals, I exercise complexes, I exercise institutions, I exercise public figures. I do this privately. And these exorcisms many times can and often do lift complexes from within me, things that have been programmed in me. Then I got deeper in and I started to discover my capacity for reading past lives. So I started clearing things from my own past lives and continue to. And I also do this work with other people. So through all of this, and there's much more, obviously, and Janelle knows, I started to kind of learn my own framework or create my own framework, healing all these layers in all these different ways from all these different angles, put together a kind of like a way of perceiving how these issues are formed. And they're very dynamic, and different individuals have different needs. So what I've ended up doing is I became a counselor, and I do elemental work, which is finding personae, false personae in a person, naming them, seeing them, finding what they desire and the thought form they were born of. And then I clear that for the individual. And I also teach them how to do it for themselves. Everything I do is to help a person come into their center the way I do with myself. And this is a process that's constant, to keep that connection alive with your being. I do archetypal work where I'm able, because I can see them as well, identify them, find out what they're bringing up for a person. I do archontic work, demon exorcism. Archons are the administrators of this lower consciousness that we are feel entrapped by, though we're really not in actuality. Seeing them, naming them, same sort of thing, and rebuking their contract over our life, depending on what part of our life force they're administering, that they're policing and creating distortion around. I do past life readings with people when they come up. A person's past life may emerge when something from that life is still active as a loop in the current life. And so the past life is able to, when a person is able to look at their past life and this pattern in past life, it's a way of objectifying that loop. Because when you're living it, it's very hard to see it objectively and make it conscious. And that's how you remain identified with it. And then it controls you. And, it's just, it's difficult to get rid of it. But with the past life work, that's what happens. It's never just to entertain people or for people's vanity. It's really just to heal things that are ready to move. I also am a professional astrologer. I studied astrology from my teenage years, and have learned tarot through the spirit. I use tarot for the purpose of recognizing complexes in individuals things that are ready to be cleared as well. It's not predictive about the future. It's more archetypal, also identifying where there's dark energies and entities and personae and things like that. I do really deep excavations of the soul through astrology. None of this is to say this is who a person is, because it's not. It's more that it's a garment that the person is wearing, and it can show where there are distortions in the person and also where there are gifts. So I do all of this and I teach all of this. And most of all, I learn about myself through this. As I was telling Janelle before, every time I work with something, I learn every time I work with someone, I learn something about myself. And healing is symbiotic, you know, it's a dialectic between individuals. And so when I help someone see themselves, they help me see myself, and there's mutual benefit. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. There's a lot more, but it's limited time.
Thank you. Thank you for speaking. It was awesome.
Love you.
I love you too. Immensely. I got to look and see what we're doing next. Okay, so we have music next. Let me find the music. Does that sound right?
I can't hear anything. I can hear you. Yeah, it's on now.
They handed me a label, a future written in stone. They spoke in careful language, as if the outcome was already known. They told me to lower my expectations, to learn a different dream. But something deep inside me said things are not always what they seem. There was a voice beneath the fear, a whisper in my soul. I expect miracles. I've seen impossible things. I watched hope rise from ashes and wounded hearts grow wings. Don't ask me to stop believing. Don't ask me to let it go. The same power that created life is greater than we'll ever know. I expect miracles. Yeah. There were nights I cried till morning, days I didn't know what to do, searching every road before me, trying to find what might break through, and every step became a lesson. Every challenge made me grow, not because the journey was easy, but because my heart refused to say no. When others saw a dead end road, I saw one more door to try. I expect miracles. I've seen impossible things. I watched I wasn't made to live in fear.